Hi guys, here's a demo for another version of a hip internal rotation eccentric using a pulley. You can also use a band for this. For the band, you would do something more like a lengthened partial, meaning that you would stay closer to your end range and just move a few inches up and down. I go back and forth here between doing full range reps and that kind of lengthened partial. Also something here, feel free to move your pelvis around, which just changes the angle that the femur meets the pelvis. So you can go more into hip flexion, kind of straight forward in that, in front of your body. You can go in more hip abduction. You can turn around and make it more extension. And I'm using this padded block. It's from Rogue, and it is meant for split squats. It's a rack attachment for the Rogue rack that we have, but you can also set up a barbell in the rack, weighting it down in some way so that it won't pop up. And then you can use like a hip thrust pad or any kind of a means of a padding so that it doesn't bother your leg, basically. But the block keeps you honest. The other thing I'm working for here with my hand is to really keep that side of my pelvis down. So I'm trying to keep my pelvis as neutral as possible to isolate and train that hip. And so the eccentrics here, the point of that eccentric or really working into that full range is to eventually develop more internal rotation. And granted, what you're doing here is you're training your external rotators in their lengthened position. So that gets a little confusing. You're training your external rotators, but you're training them long and longer to be longer so that you have better hip IR, if that makes sense. Okay, if not, don't worry, just do this. So a lot of us lack hip IR, and this lacking hip IR eventually leads to that hip joint wearing out. Squatting tends to rob you of a little bit of capsule space. So we squat and deadlift in our program, so we like to do a lot of this hip capsule work, hip IR. It's also just part of the internal strength model to train your joint capsules first, rotation second. This exercise kind of targets both in a way because it's targeting space creation at the capsule level, but it's also using your rotators. Again, here I am leaning forward a little bit more to, again, just change that angle. And I guess that's about it. Look if you're with our program, look for the actual prescription of time, and then to failure or not to failure, et cetera, et cetera. And again, remember that you can totally do this with a band, and you also don't need this fat, swanky little split squat attachment, but you will need something to block your leg. So that you can just really focus on rotation. If you don't have that block, by the way, it's super hard on your adductors to just try to keep your leg from flying up in the air. So that's another purpose of the block. All right, hope you enjoy this. Go ahead and reach out if you have any questions. And our program link I'll put up on here if you're interested in joining our program where all of this stuff is integrated. So you're doing your kind of mobility training, your strength training, and your conditioning training all in one program, which is ideal because that way you're not having kind of competitive overlap with your programming. And we also do personalized programming if you're interested in that. If you're already in our program, thanks for watching. I'm not saying anything important from this point on, so feel free to cut it off, or you can stay and watch and see how much farther I go. I did edit out some of this video. I spent a great deal of time in here until my tissue was fatigued. All right, hope you guys have a great day. See ya.